Hi, everybody. My name is Peter Alsharif. I'm a first-year resident at Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School, and today I'll be talking to you about the long-term retention of bleeding control skills in medical students. We have no financial conflicts of interest to disclose. So external hemorrhage is a major cause of preventable death in the United States, and in response to this, the Bleeding Control Basics course was developed. It's largely based on the TCCC course that was developed by the Department of Defense. It teaches basic skills such as tourniquet application, wound packing, and direct pressure to bystanders who may not have any medical training, or to EMS, police, and fire professionals. So far, over 1 million participants have been trained in these skills. At Rutgers, New Jersey Medical School, all first-year medical students are trained in these skills during orientation in their first year. And all the students receive refresher training in their third year during the surgery clerkship orientation. We also have a robust outreach and community service project where we go out into the community and we teach these skills to community members who are potential bystanders or lay rescuers. Project, we wanted to evaluate if this refresher training that students receive in their third year of medical school is necessary for maintaining proficiency in bleeding control skills. We also wanted to see if the refresher training leads to improved subjective confidence in performing these skills. And we also hope to identify some common sources of error and see what topics might need to be focused on more in the refresher training. So for all participants in the study, we trained them in bleeding control skills in orientation of their first year. By the end of their second year, they were split up into two halves. Half of the class would receive refresher training, and the other half would not. By 28 months after their initial training, all the students were evaluated in their bleeding control skills. We obtained consent for them to participate in the study and included anybody who had received initial training. We excluded anybody who had received specific training to be an instructor for these bleeding control skills. We also completed a survey which involved demographics, level of exposure to the skills in a practical sense on the floors, and the students of subspecialty interest. We also had them rate on a scale of 1 to 5 their confidence in completing the skills. And finally, we evaluated the skills using an objective checklist. There were 3 vignettes. One of them described a junctional wound, which called for wound packing. The next involved a arterial bleed from an extremity, which would have called for a tourniquet. And the third was a non-life-threatening wound with oozing blood, which called for direct pressure. And following all of this, we performed a statistical analysis using SPSS and Excel. So overall, we tested 178 of the participants. 8 of the participants were excluded from the study, 4 of them because they declined to participate, and 4 of them because they had already been trained as bleeding control instructors. This left us with 86 participants in the refresher trained group, and then 84 participants without refresher training. In terms of the subjective confidence with bleeding control skills, we noted that for tourniquet application, wound packing, and direct pressure, there was greater confidence in the refresher trained students. In terms of objective performance, we noted that the students who received refresher training completed all 3 skills perfectly in about 55% of cases, whereas the ones who did not receive refresher training only performed all 3 skills correctly 25% of the time. And we noted that this improved performance was mainly driven by increased performance in tourniquet application and wound packing, but not necessarily due to improved performance in direct pressure. Now, by performing a multinomial logistic regression, we were able to parse out some of the potential confounders or contributing factors that could have explained the increased performance in the refresher trained students aside from the training. And we noted that none of the factors, including the gender, age, specialty choice on average, exposure to skills, or real-life experience could explain this improved performance as well as refresher training. We noted that some of the most common errors in performing the skills involved tourniquets and this really was the failure to mark the tourniquet time, as well as erroneously applying tourniquets to junctional wounds. So we drew several conclusions from this study, namely that refresher training is absolutely necessary for maintaining these bleeding control skills by 2 years after initial training. And unsurprisingly, students who get this refresher also feel more confident subjectively in performing the skills. We also identified several common errors that will allow for improved quality of trainings in the future. This study is limited by possible confounders, namely that students were assigned to receive refresher training or not receive refresher training based on their clerkship choice. And there may be other factors that we haven't thought of to account for in the multinomial logistic regression. In the future, we hope to continue performing refresher training with other groups and to quantify their student performance. So I'd like to acknowledge the following people here for their participation in this project and helping us to evaluate and to train all of the participants. And here are a few references. So I'd love to answer any questions that you may have. You can go ahead and email us at beacon.njms+saem@gmail.com and follow us on Facebook. Take care. Thanks again.